In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with you. Blessed are you amongst men, and blessed is the fruit of your womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Thank you, Dr. Mark, for that beautiful introduction and your reflection on the 7 sorrows of our Mother Mary. And I want to seize this opportunity to thank the organizers of this very event, Dr. Mark and your team, for inviting me to come all the way from Africa to come and share our experience as a church in the Catholic Diocese of Maiduguri. And of course, so that we'll encourage and strengthen one another. I want to say a very big thank you to you for that. And I want to praise you for the wonderful works they are doing, especially as regards the 5th Marian dogma. With prayers, with the support of the cardinals, with the support of the bishops. Bishop Punt wrote me a letter just some few weeks before I came here. And the Archbishop Emeritus of Ibadan, Archbishop Alaba Job, also wrote, to different parts of the world as regards this very particular dogma. So with such reflections and support from the church authorities and the lay faithful, victory is on the way. So thank you for that. We will definitely celebrate the 5th dogma to the glory of God, in the honor of our Mother Mary, and for the spread of his church through Christ our Lord. My dear brothers and sisters in the Lord, Dr. Mark gave a summary of what I am to present to you. First of all, I want to say we thank our Mother Mary because she cherishes us as her children in Africa. And as they have said, I'm giving the practical dimension of the role our Mother Mary is playing in the redemption work of her own Son, with reference to Africa, particularly to Nigeria and to my own diocese, the Catholic Diocese of Maiduguri. Why do I say that our Mother Mary cherishes us as her children in the continent of Africa? First of all, because he brought Jesus to us in Africa. The second sorrowful mystery is the fact that our Mother Mary and Joseph fled to Egypt. And Egypt is in Africa. And no wonder that at the beginning of Christianity, the first few centuries of Christianity, the church flourished in North Africa. And it produced church personalities like Saint Cyril of Alexandria, Saint Augustine, and the rest. And secondly, our Mother Mary has been appearing in different parts of Africa. That is, the apparitions of our Blessed Virgin Mother. In Kibeno, in Kigali, the Archdiocese of Kigali, in Rwanda. That one has already been, that is all over, Our Lady of Sorrows. The shrine is named after that, Our Lady of Sorrows. That one has been approved by the church. And then, of course, in Nigeria, we have Our Lady of Aope in the Catholic Diocese of Otukpo. That one, the church is studying it. But pilgrims come there in thousands for Marian devotions. I was there a moment ago. I went to facilitate the retreat of the priests of that diocese, and I went to spend the night there. And it was a powerful experience that I had with our Mother Mary. Then, in addition to this, our Mother Mary has also been supporting families in Africa. Catholic families, Christian families, and of course the church. And it is no wonder then that the church in Africa, or the leaders of the church in Africa, are encouraging the faithful to get closer and closer to our Mother Mary. to maintain this strong relationship with our Mother Mary, because she will not only see us through the challenges of this world, but will eventually lead us to our Son in the kingdom of God. Now, Nigeria as a country where I come from has been facing series of challenges. Of course, it was already said in some portions or parts of the world that Nigeria, by 2015, our country would disintegrate. Nigeria will be nothing like Nigeria again by 2015. But thanks be to God, Nigeria is still standing and we're still together. But what is the reason for that? The reason for that is the fact that the leaders of the church in Nigeria have been out to encourage the faithful, the Christians, and even Nigerians generally to partake in various Marian devotions, so that this our Mother Mary will crush those enemies that would want to bring disgrace to our own country. And one of such is the fact that last year, after the first time Nigeria was consecrated to the Immaculate Heart of Mary was in 1956. After many years, Nigeria was reconsecrated to the Immaculate Heart of Mary last year. And the bishops declared the year of Our Lady in Nigeria. And let me tell you, from January to December of last year, anywhere you went, it was a matter of Marian devotions, either the Rosary, and some other devotions to Our Lady. And we thank God, things went well. The elections that took place in 2015, people thought that would bring civil war in Nigeria. But that didn't happen because we were praying. In addition to this, there was a time in which the church leaders in Nigeria assembled or invited the lay faithful to come to Abuja, the headquarters of our country, to partake in an all-night vigil. All night dedicated to prayer. And we did that. And one of the things we did was the Rosary procession. Our Rosary procession, in that very particular center, we had the all-night vigil. And it was wonderful. Of course, some of you heard it. Well, I would not say I saw it very well, but then during the reconsecration of our country to the Immaculate Heart of Mary last year, people said that the sons danced. Yes, those who saw were crying and screaming, on the field. That the son danced based on what during the ceremony. And of course, even if that didn't happen, we are fully aware that our Mother Mary confirmed what we did, and she was happy with what we did. The northern bishops in northern Nigeria, because most of the crises that we are facing now, are mostly felt in northern Nigeria. Are you talking of Boko Haram? Just as Dr. Mark has said, you are talking in terms of the Fulani herdsmen who are killing Christians in various communities. Now, so because of that, as a body, we decided that we would embark on the novena to Our Lady of Perpetual Help. And we invited the lay faithful, the Christians in northern Nigeria to embark on that. We started that this year on the Feast of the Transfiguration, 6th August to the 14th August. And then the following day was the celebration of the solemnity of the Assumption of our Mother Mary. And that was done. And frankly speaking, we are seeing the impact of that call. We have seen the impact of that prayer. Having said this, let me now come to the Catholic Diocese of Maiduguri. I took over this diocese almost 10 years ago. I'm almost 10 years as a bishop. And I took over that year, the very year Boko Haram as a sect emerged. And what is the agenda of this sect? The agenda is to eliminate Christianity, not only in the northeastern part of the country, Nigeria, not only in northern Nigeria, not only in Nigeria, but even to go beyond. Even you people here will not be saved. They will also would want to come here. Now, precisely, they started this in 2009. And what they decided to do was to target Christians. Their places of worship, their places of residence, their shops, business centers, and so on and so forth. And they would burn down these structures belonging to the Christians. And they continued with that. But the climax of it was in 2014, just as Dr. Mark has said. Before this time, the population of the Catholics in the Catholic Diocese of Maiduguri was about 25,000 Catholics. 125. You should be told that the diocese is in the heart of the Muslims. And so out of about 6 million people, the population of the Christians there is not up to, shouldn't be more than 5%. I'm not talking of the Catholics alone, but including other Christian denominations. Put them together, maybe just about 5%. Now, so the climax of it was in that 2014. And that was when Boko Haram members took over almost more than 3/4 of the areas covered by our diocese. And they spread everywhere. And so people were sacked and sent packing from their ancestral homes, running from one place to the other. But as I'm talking to you now, we have over 1,000 Catholics that have been killed. Over 1,000. Catholics alone. I'm not including all Christians. Catholics alone, over 1,000 have been killed. If you come to our cathedral, St. Patrick Cathedral, you will see the bold, this writing, the martyrs of Maiduguri Diocese. The martyrs of Maiduguri Diocese. So, over 1,000, because of their faith, they refused to renounce their faith. And so one after the other, they were killing them. Some in their houses, some in the places of worship. They would throw bombs. You are worshiping God, then they throw bombs at you. So over 1,000 have been killed. And, you know, the Catholic Church is well known for documentation. We have the list of these Christians. When we went to see the Pope this year on our ad limina visit, you know, one of the questions I threw was, is it possible to canonize, beatified and canonize, you know, saints of this nature? And they said, yes, it is possible. So when we have, we hear about the martyrs of the early church, how these ones were martyred because of their own faith. And now we are living witnesses of that. So, over 1,000. Some of the Christian men or Catholic men were deliberately targeted and killed so that Boko Haram would marry their wives. Yes. That's part of the plans, even though they have not succeeded in doing that. But they have killed the men. And as I'm talking to you, we have over 5,000 widows in my diocese that the church is struggling to take care of. Even though not all their husbands have been killed by Boko Haram. But we have that number. We also have over 15,000 orphans. The orphans that the diocese is also struggling to take care of. Many of them, their parents have been killed by Boko Haram. Some, maybe one parent, others, both parents have been killed because of their own faith. The Chibok girls that you heard about, the school where they were abducted is located in my diocese. Out of the 279 Chibok girls that were taken away, not up to half have come back. The rest are still in the custody of Boko Haram. In addition to this, the Tapchi school girls, this one is a recent one. It happened last year. Over 100 of them were taken away by Boko Haram members. Thanks be to God. All the Muslim girls have been brought back. But the Christian girl, some of you have heard about that, Lee is still in the custody of Boko Haram members because she refused to renounce her faith. She was told to bow down and let her head touch the ground. Forehead touch the ground, and she refused. And she's still in the custody of Boko Haram. We're having our conference. Towards the end, I left them and came for this event. And one of the main points we're bringing out in our communique is that the federal government must ensure that this girl is released and brought back to her parents. But we know that people in different parts of the world are praying for that girl. Dr. Mark was talking about the woman and her seven sons. This girl is one of such. You are talking of a girl of about 15 years, and she could not renounce her faith. So that one is there. We also have some of our young men or young boys who have been forcefully conscripted into the army of Boko Haram. When they capture a particular area, then they will assemble these boys together and say, let us go. If you refuse, they shoot you. So some of them have decided to go with them. So we have that one there. Now, in terms of structures, colossal destructions have taken place. Colossal destructions. Dr. Ma was talking about 50. There are more than 50 church structures. The church alone, where people would go and worship. Over 200 of those our churches have been burned down by Boko Haram members. Over 200. Our catechetical training center was attacked, and all the structures burned down. Similarly, our managed seminary was also attacked. Thanks be to God. Nobody was killed on the compound, but the structures were razed down. Then, if you are talking in terms of priest residence, over 10 priest residents have also been burnt down by Boko Haram members. Over 15 parish residents, like you are on here, that you have here. Over 15 of those ones have also been razed down in our diocese. Two convents were affected. Our sisters and Nigerian sisters who are sitting here, their sisters were in my own diocese. And they were in two communities. And of course, those communities were attacked by Boko Haram members. And one of the convents was completely razed down by Boko Haram members, including the school and then the hospital they were working. Or every structure razed down. Now, if you are talking in terms of schools, that's the same thing. We have over 20 of our schools that were sacked by Boko Haram members. Some of them burned down. So, this is the reality, and this is our experience in the Catholic Diocese of Maiduguri. During that year, that is 2014, over 1,000 Catholics were sacked. Over 1,000 Catholics had to flee from their ancestral homes. Some of them ran into Cameroon, some ran into Chad, some ran into Niger, some ran to other cities in Nigeria. Then, we have various internally displaced camps. We call it IDPs. Internally displaced camps in Nigeria and Cameroon. In Cameroon, in the Diocese of Marwa, were over 5,000 Catholics that, fled Nigeria to that place. And that is apart from other Christians. With other Christians, you'll be talking over 60,000 Christians that were there. Thanks be to God, we were able to visit them. I visited them on 3 occasions, but the first one, we went with a Catholic Bishops' Conference delegation. There are about 3 bishops, and then some priests, 4 bishops and some priests, and we went there with the money to be given to the church in Marwa to buy relief materials for these people. Then after that, I went back on 2 other occasions. Thanks be to God, some of them have come back. But there are some who are still there. And inside Maiduguri, we still have camps. We have a Catholic camp in Maiduguri, we have other Christian camps, and then we also have Muslim camps that once in a while the diocese comes out, with some support to give them. Now, after the military later on came and recaptured these areas that were under the control of Boko Haram, our people now started coming back. Many of them have now come back. I think our population now should be up to 100,000. And that is good. The population has increased. But with these ones who have come back, here is a humanitarian crisis. And what is it? That these people have come back to find nothing to live on. The Boko Haram members, after occupying their houses, they burned down many of them. Their crops, the Boko Haram came at the time when they were about to harvest their own crops. And then Boko Haram either harvested those crops and ate them, or they would set fire on them. Very wicked people, very, very wicked. They would set fire on them. And some of their personal belongings, they would take them away. Take them away. So they came back, there was no food. For some, no place to lay their heads. Some, they have no clothes to wear, and so on and so forth. Now, because it is solidly Christian, the government of the state, which is controlled by Muslims, neglected, and even up to now, neglects our people. So it is only the church that again struggles, to support and, give succor to these, our brothers and sisters who have come back. Sometimes we were providing food, materials for them, sometimes clothes, and so on and so forth. So, as I've said, this has been the reality. In fact, in that year, over 25 priests fled from their places of work. And 45 religious nuns, the members of DMMM sisters included, ran away from their places of apostolate. But as I've said, thanks be to God, a good number of them have come back. So this is the situation. And my dear brothers, my dear sisters, we'll still thank God. Why? Because despite this experience, our people still remain strong in faith. Their faith is unshakable. And that is a very big gift to us as a church in that part of the world. The people are very strong in faith. We have reached a stage in which whether there are bomb blasts or gunshots, the people will still be going to the church for their religious activities. And of course, our church are always filled to capacity. You have children, you have youth, you have adults. You have men and women, and you have children, the young and the old. All will come to church. So, that is an asset to us as a church. And anywhere I go, I will always thank God for that. Yes, our sisters and two sisters, the Igbos, will tell you, during the Civil War, the missionaries were always with the people, the Igbos. They ran into the forest. When they ran into the forest, the missionaries were with them, celebrating the sacraments. The priests were celebrating the sacraments with them, giving baptism to thousands of children, giving communion to the people. And that is why the Igbos are very, very strong in faith. Wherever they go, you will find them manifesting their own faith in action. Now, the same thing is going to happen in the northeastern part of Nigeria. There are clear indications that is going to happen. And I'm telling you that. Now, so one can say that our people are very strong in faith. And then the question is, what are the sources of the strength of our people? What are the sources? One of such sources is the Eucharist. The Eucharist. That our people participate in the Eucharistic celebration, receive communion always, go for confessions, and so on and so forth. And then they also participate in what we call the adoration. I was very happy when I found that they inserted adoration as part of their program. I was very, very happy. Because that is also the source of our strength. So that is one. Then two, and which is central to my presentation today, is our Mother Mary. Our Mother Mary. Our Mother Mary is the source of our strength. She will never let us down as her children. And I want to tell you that we are doing our best to maintain a very strong relationship with our Mother Mary. And there are many things we have started doing to show that with our Mother Mary, victory belongs to us. Now, when I came to the diocese, I'm not from the Diocese of Maiduguri. I'm not from Borno State. I'm from Plateau, which is a Christian state. So I was appointed and brought to Maiduguri Diocese. So one of the things I decided that we should do was to consecrate. I'm not sure if Maiduguri as a diocese has ever been consecrated to the Immaculate Heart. I'm not sure. I've not seen that. So was to consecrate our diocese to the Immaculate Heart of Mary. And we did that in what? In the minor seminary. I will tell you later on about the miracle that took place here. Not during the consecration, but what happened because of the fact that we had that consecration in the minor seminary. That was the first time. I'm talking of about 2010. That's about 8 years ago. So we did it there. We had it there in the minor seminary. Then after that, every year we would reconsecrate our diocese to the Immaculate Heart of Mary. Every year that would be done. And it's not all dioceses that define that. There are many dioceses that have not even consecrated themselves to the Immaculate Heart of Mary. But ours is every year that is done. Now, so that is one. Then two, we decided to look for a permanent Marian shrine for our diocese. And of course, I went on my knees and I said, Mama Mary, you know what we're looking for? That's what we call her in Africa, Mama Mary. Yes, you know what we're looking for. So, intervene. Because as I've told you, our diocese is in the heart of the Muslims. And yet, we're able to get the place for the permanent Marian shrine. And we name it after Our Lady of Perpetual Help. Our Lady of Perpetual Help Shrine. The Catholic Diocese of Maiduguri, Our Lady of Perpetual Help Shrine. And then after the first consecration we had in the minor seminary, the next one was there at the foot of the hill. Very beautiful, very beautiful. And people came there in great numbers. We had that, an all-night event. We did that at night. Now, so, since then, we have been having that every year. This year, we had it in March. In May. And the number keeps on swelling. That is those who turned out for the consecration, the number keeps on swelling. The Catholic Diocese of Maiduguri is the largest in terms of landmass in Nigeria. It covers 2.5 states, and is the largest. So, for me to travel from Maiduguri to one parish may take me, before Boko Haram crisis, it may take me up to 5 hours. Within the same diocese, up to 5 hours. But now with this crisis of Boko Haram, it will take me more than 1 day. I have to spend the night somewhere before I reach the station that I'm going from Maiduguri. So it is not easy to get all the people together because of the security situation. But despite that, this year, we're talking only half of the diocese that came for that celebration, yet we had thousands. I was surprised at the number I saw. And when I saw that, I said, Mama Mary, you are doing your work. Yes, I said you are doing your work. Now, in addition to this, the Feast of Assumption is celebrated at the diocesan level. In some places it's left for women. Okay, this one is for women. No. We don't do that in our diocese. Mama Mary is our mother. So we celebrate that at the diocesan level. Now, because of the size of the diocese, we download it to the deanery level. Yeah, you have a number of parishes coming together. Into 6 zones. So I will be in Maiduguri city together with the rest of the priests, the religious, and the lay faithful. And it has been wonderful. The attendance, great. Great. In addition to this, I wrote a pastoral letter on Rosary procession. This was in, I think, 2013. A pastoral letter inviting the people to embark on Rosary procession. I'm sure some of us here know the importance of this Rosary procession and what it has done in the life of the church in different parts of the world. Brazil. Is there anybody from Brazil here? Very good, my sister. Now, you might have heard of the story, you might have not heard it. But Brazil would have been a communist nation by this time, if not for Rosary procession. In 1964, President Goulart, who was trained in Russia, came back to Brazil and wanted to implant communism in Brazil. And then Cardinal Camara went on here and invited the Brazilian Catholics to come out and embark on Rosary processions on the streets in Brazil. That was what they did. And what happened? President Goulart, no one said a word to him. He came down from his throne and ran out of Brazil without anybody saying a word to him. The ministers and the governors that he had appointed and who were his collaborators also ran out of Brazil. And that was how Brazil was saved from communism. Our Mother Mary came and chased the president out of Brazil. And when I tell this story, I would also say that our Mother Mary will chase Boko Haram out of our own diocese. She will also chase them out of our diocese. So, as it is now, the Rosary procession takes place at the family level, at the church level, at the parish level, and at the diocesan level. That's what happens. And if we come for the reconsecration of our diocese, for the 4 mysteries, we'll cover them. We'll cover the 4 mysteries in form of Rosary procession. And I have no doubt that is going to work miracles in our diocese and elsewhere through Christ our Lord. Now, in addition to this, in the bishop's house, if you come to the bishop's house, every evening there's Rosary procession, whether I am there or not. The bishop, if I'm there, the bishop, my priest, who is my secretary, a seminarian who is serving the bishop's court, and then the domestic staff will come together and have a Rosary every evening. Every evening. So as I'm here, every evening it is happening in my own house. And one priest said, "My Lord, this one that you are doing, you will see the impact." One priest told me that he visited and then he saw what we were doing and he said, "This thing that you are doing, you see the impact. You see little children leading us in the Rosary procession. They'll be praying the Rosary procession and leading us." So, now, having said this, these are some of the things we are doing. And therefore, as we are doing them, our Mother Mary is telling us that I am not far from you. I am not far from you. I am with you. How do we know that? Because of the miracles that have started taking place in our diocese. And I will give you a few of those miracles. Now, I am going to my 10th year, as I told you. I'm into the 10th year already as a bishop, or moving towards the 10th year as a bishop in Maiduguri Diocese. I decided to wear this to demonstrate something. I have my coat, it is there. But I said, let me wear this so that I demonstrate something to you. And what is it? That throughout this period that we have been experiencing these attacks from Boko Haram members, I have never gone out of Maiduguri or come into Maiduguri without my skull cap and without this my sultan. Which means I can easily become the target for Boko Haram members. They could easily spot me They could easily see me, and they could easily finish me. But let me tell you, for this length of time, I have never encountered Boko Haram. Almost 10 years of severe attacks, both on the roads and in churches and in communities, and yet I have not encountered them. Can you say that one is ordinary? For almost 10 years? Can you say that is ordinary? It's because Mama Mary is shielding her own son. That's just the reason. I'm telling you. Otherwise, what reason? And I've never stayed back to say, okay, I'm afraid. Okay, now this one's the idea, let me not go out. No. I remember this time when the attacks were very, very severe. And my driver said, my Lord, can we not wait? I said, let us go. You know? So, and if all these ones, nothing has happened. What of the priests? The priests have been working in very risky areas. You will find them moving from one place to the other. Because, as I said, over 25 of them were sacked. But after the people came back, I invited them. I called them that they should go back to serve the people. And one of the things I'm so happy with my priests is the fact that they are very courageous. Very brave. Very courageous. And so they move from one place to the other, ministering to the people of God. And yet, no priest has been touched. No priest has been touched. You know. So, this is another miracle. And as regards the wearing of my soutane, you know, a drama happened in the airport, in Abuja airport in Nigeria. I invited a priest to come, a bishop to come for the ceremony of the consecration of our diocese of Miraculous of Mary. And the bishop is Marian, very wonderful, very wonderful. Bishop Anthony of Ida Diocese, very wonderful. He is deeply Marian. So, he told some of his people, I'm talking about 5 years ago. So he told some of his people, from that time, every year, he comes for the ceremony of our consecration of a diocese to the Miraculous of Mary. So he told some of his people that he was coming to Maiduguri. They said, hey, don't try it. Don't try it. You will not come back alive. This Boko Haram will kill you. So he phoned me to inform me that this was the reaction of the people. I said, calm down. Am I not your brother? If there's any danger, I will tell you now. Come. Meanwhile, I was in Abuja. So I said, come, let us fly back to Maiduguri together. So what he did was, in Nigeria, bishops wear this. You know, this is, at the universal level, is the Pope that wears this one, the white soutane. But in Nigeria, the bishops wear this. Now, so instead of wearing his soutane, he wore the suit like this father's on. At least they may not be able to understand that this is a bishop. Now, then he came and met me in the airport. And then we were about to be checked in. And here was an officer, a Muslim for that matter. You know, they have respect for the Catholic priests, let alone the bishop. But I'm sure he didn't know that I'm a bishop. But he knows that, yes, this is a pastor. So he looked at me. With my soutane, I was dressed like this. He said, Pastor, go inside. Don't remove your shoes. Just go inside. So I went inside. Then he looked at Bishop Anthony with his suit. He said, you, remove your shoes. So I whispered to his ears. I said, he is also a bishop. He said, but he doesn't have the kind of clothes you are wearing. You know. So, we'll laugh over it. But there's the point. The point is the issue of witness. Witness. The witness to the gospel. Witness to the gospel. So, the issue of saying that we are fearing, okay, hey, they will kill us. Okay, let me not wear this one. That does not arise with us. So that's another miracle. Then with some of our lay faithful, I know of one man who was arrested on 5 occasions by Boko Haram members. And each time they arrested him, they would release him again because of the prayer of the Rosary. He would always bring, have his own Rosary, and he would bring it out, and he would pray in the Rosary. He would pray in his own Rosary, just as Dr. Mark showed us. He would pray in his own Rosary. And then they would release him. After some time, they would get him somewhere, they would capture him. Then the Rosary again, they would release him. 5 times. I paid a pastoral visit to that parish about 3 weeks ago before I came here. And they were the ones telling me, he and his wife. Apart from that, there's this young man that was taken together with some passengers into the forest. The Boko Haram members diverted that vehicle right into the forest. And being a Catholic, very strong one for that matter, could not just listen to anybody. When they reached the place, and all of them came down, he removed his rosary and started praying the rosary. And apart from praying the rosary, he was singing. In the hollow of his hands, in the hollow of his hands, I am safe, whatever may betide me, in the hollow of his hands. That is on the palms of Jesus. I am on the palms of Jesus. So no matter what happens, I am on the palm of Jesus. Let me tell you, after about 4 or 5 days, Boko Haram members came and singled it out and took him back to the main roads and dropped him. And he left. But the rest remained there. The rest who are not praying the rosary, they remained there. But him, he was taken out. And there was celebration everywhere in the diocese because we knew that was the intervention of our Mother Mary. Apart from this, there's this old mother that was trapped in a community. The Boko Haram members came and captured that community, and the able and strong ones ran away, leaving her, an aged woman. Now, the Boko Haram members came and met her and said, "Hey, Mama, all we want from you is become a Muslim, and then we will leave you, we will not do anything to you." Mama stood up and went into the room and carried the key to the church. The key to the church. That woman was so strong in faith that every morning she would be the one to open the door of the church. So she brought that key and showed to Boko Haram members and said, "You are telling me to become a Muslim when you know that, or what I want to tell you is that I've been the one opening the door of the church every morning. So how can you tell a person like me to become a Muslim? I will not." Then they started beating her. They beat her. She never yielded. And beat her and even left her unconscious. After some time, she regained her consciousness and stood up, carried a stick, and started walking. And where did she go? She went straight to the camp of Boko Haram members. And in the camp, she went straight to the leader. They started talking harshly to the leader. He said, "Is it a must that I should be a Muslim? Is it a must?" Then she, took her cloth and showed her back to the leader. Said, "Look at what your boys have done to me. Look at what they have done. Is it a must? Must I become a Muslim?" Then the leader became very pathetic. Then he called the boys and scolded them. Then why did you do this to this old woman? Why should you beat her? Then he transferred them from that area and brought another set of Boko Haram members. And then he instructed them. He said, "Mama, sorry." And then he instructed this new group that he brought to that area to be feeding this old woman. And that was what they were doing for months before the military came and reclaimed that area. And what was she doing? She was praying a rosary. She was praying a rosary. The Lord listened to her. Otherwise, how would she go to the camp and go back free? They would have killed her. But that didn't happen. Now, my dear people of God, the miracles are many. But let me stop here. About my dream, my vision. Dr. Mark gave an introduction of that. In October 2014, that is towards the end of October, that was when this vision occurred. And when I say vision, I mean in a vision, not practically, not something that you will touch. And what was it? First of all, before I continue, the vision is not about me, because I am a poor sinner. I'm just but a sinner, always in need of the mercy of God. But that vision occurred because of Jesus and his mother Mary. And of course, because of the children of God in our diocese and indeed in the entire world. So, the Blessed Sacrament is exposed 24 hours in my chapel. 24 hours. The Blessed Sacrament is exposed. And of course, every morning we'll be there for prayer. In the afternoon, I will be there, at least on my own. Then in the evening, I would normally go there for prayer before my personal secretary, the priest, and then the seminarian would come so that we'll have a community prayer. So this very day, and in the evening, I went to the chapel. Then I knelt down and I was praying the Rosary before the Blessed Sacrament. So while that was happening, then suddenly I looked at the right-hand side of the Blessed Sacrament. Then I saw Jesus standing. And his dress is like the Jesus, the Good Shepherd. If you look at that picture, that's how he was looking. Then carrying a very long sword in his own hand. And then I said, Lord, what is it? He didn't say anything. There was no response. So he stood there. And then the sword, some of us have gone to Rome, some of us have gone to the Vatican. You see these switch guards. You see them with their swords. So now the sword that Jesus was carrying is like that. So he started coming towards me while I was kneeling down. He started coming towards me. And when he reached close, then he stretched his two hands with this sword in his own hand towards me. This rosary I was having, I dropped it on the pew and then stretched my two hands to receive the sword. As soon as I received it, it turned into the rosary, the white one. Now, so when that happened, Jesus now spoke. Boko Haram is gone. Boko Haram is gone. Boko Haram is gone. 3 times. Then he disappeared. I didn't see him again. So, that shook me. I was thoroughly shaken by that experience. And I never said anything to anybody about it until January 2015. In January 2015, I felt that the priests should know about this so that they would also know that, yes, this is meant to encourage and strengthen us in the praying of the Rosary. So I told the priests, and they said, fine. That the message is about them to intensify the prayer of the Rosary so that by the grace of God, this thing would go. Then in the same month, I talked to our lay faithful. Not all. We had an assembly of some section, and then I told them. That was the end. I never said that to anybody again. And our people were just praying their Rosary. They were praying their Rosary. Until in March the same year, 2015, when I went for a religious conference in Madrid. Meanwhile, people have already seen us, Dr. Mach has said. Well, people had not done that yet until that conference. Now, I was one of the bishops that spoke. And in my own presentation, what I prepared, there's no sign. I didn't in any way intend to say anything about that vision. So, but then I made a presentation, and towards the end, I mentioned it. An invisible force made me to say it. And I know that Mama Mary felt that, okay, this is the time he should bring this out. Let the world know about this. So as soon as I finished that, I finished the presentation, and EWTN staff was there, and he dragged me to one side. Then he started the interview. So that was the interview that, he put on the net, and the thing spread everywhere. But there are people of God, in a matter of spirituality, and especially a thing of this nature, it is not everybody who will believe you. It's not everybody. Even including some of my brother bishops. They say, I forget about this one. This one. They dismiss that with a wave of their hand. Some priests, some lay faithful. Some religious. This one is just dreaming. He doesn't know what he's saying. So, last year, when we were having our provincial Marian Year celebration, I told the people, I said, if I have said this in order to earn cheap popularity, God will punish me. I said, God will punish me. There is no doubt about that. I will not escape the punishment of God. But if this really happened, then we'll see it. Because the question some of them ask is, but Boko Haram has not gone. Boko Haram is still here. Jesus did not say this is when Boko Haram will go. Even though he said it in the present tense. But of course, the time belongs to him. So, I said, it is not something that you begin to defend yourself. No. Leave it to God, and he will do it. Leave it to Mama Mary, and she will do it. But all I know is that vision is already bringing tremendous blessings, not only to the people in my diocese, but elsewhere. My being here and standing here before you is because of that vision. Otherwise, I wouldn't have come here. And as Dr. Mark has said, I have traveled, I've been invited in different parts of the world. In fact, some I had to turn down the invitation because it's too much for me. I saw some ladies from Philippines. Yeah, from Philippines, isn't it? Yes, I was invited to the Philippines, but I didn't go. And so also are other places. But to those places I go and share this story, frankly speaking, the people are strengthened and encouraged. And that alone is enough blessing or enough proof that, yes, this is something that is going to bring, blessing to the people, especially in terms of our relationship with our Mother Mary. But even apart from that, as Dr. Mark said, I was in London last 2 years. And let me tell you the result of that. Of course, it was this issue of, Antonia, Dr. Mark, where we met in Amsterdam. That was when the invitation, we started the issue of my invitation to go to London. And that worked. She said one bishop was invited and they didn't give him visa. So she was really afraid. But when it came to my own, there was no problem. I had no problem. So when I eventually told her that I succeeded in the visa, she was very, very happy. Now, I was in London, and what happened? I met this group there, and the man, the leader of the group, told me that he was not a serious Catholic. That he was not a serious Catholic. But he had a business friend, a very serious Catholic, deeply Marian. And that the friend has been going to Medjugorje for his pilgrimage there. And then he invited him, to come along with him to Medjugorje. At the beginning, he was very reluctant, since he was not a serious Catholic. He never bothered to go. But then, eventually, he went. And when he went, he made his conversion. I must say, I thank God. This year, I was able to visit the 3 main Marian centers in Europe. After our Lebanon visit, I went to Medjugorje together with one of my priests. I went to Fatima. I went to Lourdes. And if you have not gone to any of those places, I will encourage you to try and go. It will never be the same when you go. It will never be the same. So, when he went, this friend of his went. The man who was not a serious Catholic went. He made his conversion there. He came back and became very, very dedicated to the work of the church. Then he asked himself, what would he do to God in appreciation for his conversion? Then the inspiration came. Let him be building the cross. Let him be building the cross in different parts of the world. So where did he go? He went to Malawi and built a very big cross on top of the mountain. Now it's a very big pilgrimage center for the people. From there, he went to Rwanda, the diocese of Kigali. He also built the cross on the top of the mountain. And of course, that of Rwanda is very timely because it happened after the Rwandan genocide, where the Tutsi and the Hutus killed one another, and you are talking of over 800,000 people were killed. So that became the center of reconciliation, the center for forgiveness, the center for the embracement of one another, and so on and so forth. He showed me the pictures of how people go there on pilgrimage. There are thousands and thousands of people go there. Then when he finished, then he asked me, do you want us to build one in your own diocese? I said, are you asking me that question? I said, no, I'm not wasting time on that. I want it. That he said, yes, but this is going to help you in the issue of Boko Haram. I said, yes, it is true. So he said, okay, go and get a place, get a mountain, and then we'll fund the building. Let me tell you, we have the biggest cross in Nigeria that is built here. The biggest cross. Biggest cross. And it has become a pilgrimage center. In fact, one bishop has said, last year, it was blessed. And then, as God would have it, and as our Mother Mary would have it, I was in Lagos, one of the cities in Nigeria. Then I shared this experience with a couple. And then I said, but I'm intending to build the grotto of Our Lady of Fatima, at the side of the mountain. Then he asked me about the cost. I told him the cost. He said, okay, we'll take care of the cost. So the grotto has also been built. Very big grotto of Our Lady. So you go to the grotto, when you climb the hill, you first reach the grotto, and Our Lady will be pointing to the cross. Go to my son. Go to my son. So I am telling you, it is attracting thousands and thousands of people. Some of you will come to Nigeria, will come to that pilgrimage center by the grace of God. So these are some of the blessings that accompany the vision I have had. So I have no problem about that, and I know that by the grace of God, more and more of wonders will happen. Last year, the General Assembly, we tagged it rebuilding the Catholic Diocese of Maiduguri, rebuilding the Catholic Diocese of Maiduguri, both physically and spiritually. And let me tell you, we have started. We have started. First of all, anybody who comes to Maiduguri Diocese will know that, yes, these people have great faith. These people are strong in faith. We had the Golden Jubilee celebration of our diocese last year, and bishops came from different places, different parts of Nigeria, and even outside Nigeria, and they were amazed to see the faith of the people. So that clearly shows that already things are happening for the glory of God. My dear brothers, my dear sisters, Rome is now the headquarters of the Universal Church. Who knows? Maiduguri may eventually be the headquarters of the church in Nigeria. It will happen like that. I told this to the bishops, and they said, hey, you. I said, oh, I'm talking because I know Mama Mary is doing a lot for us. So no doubt, Boko Haram, yes, there are still pockets of attacks that are taking place even up to now. But I am deeply convinced that Boko Haram will fizzle out. Nothing will stop that from happening. And we will celebrate our victory. So, our Mother Mary, just as some of the speakers said yesterday, is a solution to all the evil forces in the world today. You have your own challenges here. Secularism is a major one. Mama Mary is a solution to secularism. She's a solution to terrorism. In Nigeria, there is this grand plan by the Muslims to Islamize Nigeria, but they will never succeed because our Mother Mary is there. So she's a solution to Islamization. She's a solution to our personal challenges. She's a solution, to the wave of immorality we experience in our present-day society. And then eventually, she will never sleep until she sees us in the kingdom of our own Son. And it is our prayer that it will be so through Christ our Lord. Thank you, and God bless you all.